Welcome back to Off the Rack Rebellion, the podcast where we talk about costuming and how to take everyday finds and incorporate them into your everyday cosplay. Kate, how are you doing? You got exciting news
Hello,
today.
Billy. I am well. I'm still a little bit of a gravelly throat. I just came back from Halcycon in Orlando, just left ahead of this hurricane, and this is going to be airing after the hurricane. So hopefully everyone's doing okay.
Hope
Definitely,
everyone's safe.
yeah, definitely outrunning the first order and hurricanes. Not never expect that one, but yeah, I'm good. I'm a little wired even still from this experience.
Okay, yeah. That's usually how it goes. There's still like
Yeah,
a residual like buzz like in the,
totally.
in the mind and in the soul. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So we're going to be talking, right? We're going to be talking about like some of the people that you saw at Halcycon, some very
Yeah.
friendly people to
Mhm.
us, and
Yes.
what they were, what they were wearing and stuff,
Yeah.
right? That's what we
Yeah,
do here.
absolutely. Totally. So, I mean, this crew brings their game, right? I mean, like you want to talk about like OC looks. This is a crew that is has worked because a lot of, they went on the Halcyon as their original characters, many of them. Not everyone, but that was really the thing, right?
Yeah.
And so it was wonderful. So I was just going up to people and saying, "Hey, I've got this podcast with my friend Billy. May I interview you?" And really, the question I asked was, "What inspired you to make this your Star Wars style?" And so it was just really
Right.
interesting to hear the reasons. Like some people found an item and that inspired them. Some people had an idea and they went out and found that, usually online, right?
Yeah.
There was a really amazing upcycle from like a previous item that kind of has history in one of these people's lives, and they found it in the back of their closet, and so I'm excited to talk about that, very
Yeah.
excited to talk about that. So
That's very
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, do you want to jump into it?
Let's jump
Okay,
into it. We've
let's
got a
do
lot
it.
to
Let's
cover.
jump in. There's
Yeah.
so many. I talked to so many wonderful people. So this very first one was
Mhm.
the first one that I saw being like, I have to talk to her. So this is Essie. And in real life, she says that she has been inspired much of her life by Leia to wear a lot of whites and creams. She said that she feels comfortable in those colors. They complement her naturally. And her thing is very much like mine and yours, where she is dedicated to wearing completely found existing clothing items. So this is all something that she found off the rack.
Okay.
And when I saw her, I was just like, oh my God, it's Mon Mothma, right? Like this
Yeah.
is these style, like these cuts, these textures. I wish I had zoomed in a little bit because this kind of silvery gray cowl has a beautiful texture to it. And I just thought, she's comfortable, she's glowing. This was a wonderful Star Wars look.
I do think I love the, asymmetricality of it. It reads very Coruscant-y, very Chandrillan, which is
Yeah.
exactly like perfect for the venue. Um, yeah, I think bang up job. I think it was the first one that you sent me as well, and I was like, okay,
Yeah, yeah.
here.
Oh my gosh. I seriously, when I saw her, like my eyes lit up. I'm like, don't be a creeper. Don't be a creeper.
Yeah,
But I
I
wanted
have
to approach her. So,
now. I have seen all of them. I will just say for the listeners, this is going to be a visual episode to get the
it
full
is. Yes.
effect of this. So head over to YouTube, but we'll try to explain them and
Yeah.
describe them for you as well. But yeah, it's pretty great.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm excited. I have so many photos to work with. So this couple are Ben and Amy. And I had seen them earlier in the day. Ben had that really great green coat that was sold on the Halcyon. Have you seen that where it has um,
Yeah.
yeah, it has like a multi-layer collar. There's like
Mhm.
layers going out under the shoulders. And I kind of stopped and chatted with him. I was running, I think, to my panel or something like that. And I was like, hey, could I stop you later and chat with you about your style? So well, then I ran into them right after chatting with Essie, and I was like, oh my gosh, you've changed. And boy, did they. Because going from that green coat to this is like it's a different look for sure. But I
Yeah.
was chatting with them. They're so lovely. They are fans of dark side fashion. They love that it's nice and clean and crisp, which is a really fun slant. And we'll talk about, hopefully we'll get time to talk about like, my look was inspired by like kind of this a little more, whose side are you on? Because it's dark, clean and crisp. Um,
Right.
so Amy's headpiece is from an artist on Etsy who sells apparently like even more elaborate headpieces. We weren't able to find her, and I forgot to look her up, but I'll eventually try to do that and put it in some links. But like, can you? I mean, this is insane. So you can't see, but it's built onto a wide headband that just attaches to her head,
Oh
and
wow.
front piece is like it dangles down, and it really reminds me almost of like fangs, right? But they move.
Right.
And she said
Right.
that
Right.
on the,
Right.
this is what she wore on the Halcyon. She actually had paired it with a white dress for the Halcyon, but for the con
Mm.
wanted to switch to dark. She made the belt with like a vinyl, kind of shiny vinyl fabric on her cry cut or cricket. You know what I'm talking about?
Cricket.
Everyone has one and I don't. I need to get one.
Me, I
And
yeah, I don't
every
have one
I
either.
know. So she everything else was just existing clothing that she found and paired with it, but that belt she made specifically for the look, and the headdress was made by an Etsy artist. And then definitely like
I think
uh
amazing styling. It really reads like, otherworldly, which when I saw this
yes.
pair,
Yeah.
um,
Right? Like
it's a very
Sith.
sleek dress with like cutouts, and it's a bit asymmetrical. Well, actually, it's not asymmetric; it's very symmetrical. But the
Yeah.
cutouts sort of are very interesting on it, and then this like elaborate headdress that comes around the front, like
Yeah. Of like
almost covering a
metal.
bit
This
of
like
her, yeah,
right?
almost a bit of her face, and it looks incredible. It really does
Yeah.
look, otherworldly, which is
It
fantastic.
it does. I know these two I feel like stepped off of a screen for sure. Ben's look was very inspired by the Empire and by classic Sith and things like that. And who doesn't love a medal, a badge, and a cape? Like it's fantastic. And some great moto boots on. So just really,
Right.
really great style. So I just they were so fun. So we get to the next slide here. Okay, so many of us know Mike from Hyperspace Props. So they are my new favorite people. Like I got to learn to play Savak and had so much fun this weekend. There was this amazing room, and I don't know if like some of the organizations came in and set it up or who, but it was called the cantina, and it was dark, it was lit in interesting ways, it had different little alcoves with tables where you can go and you could sit down for a game of sabacc,
Nice.
which and they had a little mini booth of their own in there where you could go and buy their stuff, which I definitely picked up a couple of dice so I could play shift at home because it's
Were they
easier.
the ones that had the droid? Well, it's not a droid, but it's supposed to be a droid of the round one that goes around
Yeah.
and oh,
Yes, it
yeah,
is just a
great.
model at this point. Mike and I
Yeah,
were talking about that and kind of laughing about how would you make that work. But yeah, just these two are just some of the best people
someone's
in
on
the
it. I'm
galaxy.
sure.
Yeah,
I'm
I know,
sure they
right?
are.
I know. He's like, I need
Someone's on
to
it.
figure out how to do that. So I wanted to know about Mike's look because it really, I mean, it fit into this like shadowy gambling space that he was in a lot of the con.
Hmm.
And he had said he knew right away that he needed a cape. He needed a Lando
Yeah.
cape. And that's what I heard from several people. Lando cape. You know what I mean? It was just definitely people were going for that look. So this is actually by Her
Perfect.
Universe, which
Oh,
I
great.
really loved because we're always talking about like gender doesn't matter. Like I
Oh,
think
of
maybe
course not.
maybe a
Yeah.
lot of individuals are like, oh, Her Universe. I don't know if that's for me. Yeah, that's for you. There's something for you. Um, the shirt is very interesting because it's like a double breasted Mandarin collar. He said the Mandarin collar was important to him because he is fluent in two different dialects of Chinese. Did you know
Oh,
that?
wow.
Yeah.
I
So
did
he
not know
wanted
that. No.
now you know. He wanted a nod to that knowledge that he has, that background that he has. And so he said, Mandarin color,
Okay.
I've got to find it. I was really interested in the shirt because I had led a clothing and accessory swap earlier in the day, and
Hmm.
someone had dropped off the same shirt. I was like, oh my God, where did you get that shirt? And so
Wow.
it's actually just off Amazon. So that's why, there were two
Okay.
of them, but it has a really interesting little silver embroidery neck detailing
Hmm.
that just gives a little extra pop, right?
Yeah.
So, a lot of black head to toe, but then with the blue lining of the cape with a little bit of a pattern, screams Lando, and then just this little silver embroidery. I thought gives a little extra thing. I really
Yeah,
like that.
I think this is a perfect sort of, a Sabak Den underworld kind of look. He's also I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he might be in Zabrak
Yes. Oh,
horns
yes.
and face painting, which is great.
Yes.
Love aliens. Star Wars is better with
Yes.
aliens. Like,
Yes.
and love that. Love that there is now a character running around that's a Sabrak that um that is a dashing kind of Lando character. I
Yeah.
love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, our next one. Oops, come on, computer. Next slide. This hat. So,
Okay, wait.
Adam.
I have a question on this one,
Yeah.
right? Because I've seen
Yeah.
this. I saw it
Yes.
everywhere. Is she supposed to be the big hologram pillar thing from
Yeah.
inside the Star
So
Cruiser, or no?
so
Am I
she yeah,
completing?
so this is Sandy. And
Yeah.
Sandy said that she designed this look to mimic the terminal. So it has a gray wall and like a glowing logo. And she wanted to, so
Okay.
she's almost like bounding in Star Wars style, I feel like. Because this hat, we talk about like
Well, she's
taking
bounding as
things.
the ship. Yeah,
Yeah,
which I
yeah,
thought
she's
was
bounding as the
really
ship.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, part of the ship.
Oh, I
So it
thought it
was like,
was because there was this giant
oh,
like
yeah,
hologram
yeah.
tube thing, and I thought like
Yep.
I thought that was it, but I mean, just as well. Like
It very much, and it
great.
could have been another layer of what she was going for because it very much does have that effect. It was so funny to
Yeah.
see her kind of like opening the curtain, or like friends of hers would open the curtain and like say something to her, like close it. So it was just so fun that to chat with her and be like, what is happening? Tell me more. And it was, and I was like, this is an interactive art piece as clothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she was like, she wanted to really highlight. So she also has the Halcyon jewelry on. So her necklace and her cuff, I think her earrings were like the
Mhm.
Halcyon logo. So she wanted to bound as it. But I feel like the hat, because so this is created out of a cosplay hat from Amazon, some beaded curtains, because they're like tiny little gold beads, beaded
Yeah.
curtains and cardboard off of Amazon. And
Great.
yeah, so we talk about taking a normal earthly thing and putting some filter on it to make it Star Wars. And I was like, God, I could see a character walking around in some scene with a hat on like this. Couldn't you? Like, I was just like, it gives it that slant of like that. Oh, it's a little bizarre. Wow. So it was a great look. And so Adam from Junk Traders Outpost was my unofficial assistant, who was actually taking a whole bunch of photos for me when I said what I was doing. And I had turned around at one point and he was like, "You've got to talk to her." I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, awesome. I'm ready." So just a very, very sweet person. So
Yeah, when I saw this one, I was like, "Oh, okay." Like this, it automatically reads as like, "Oh, you did something really creative here, and
yeah,
you're kind of conjuring like the actual ship." And I thought that was
yeah,
really cool.
yeah,
It's a
yeah.
slant that I don't think anybody did
Right, right.
that
And
I can
like,
think of, but and then it's great.
and yeah, and because the ship has such a history in Star Wars, right? I mean, like it's in Princess and the Scoundrel, like the book with Han and Leia, and they talk about how it's been around forever, has history. It's they're in the Star Wars galaxy. There must have been fans of this ship. You know what I mean? Like, and I was like, yeah, like I could see that. Like somebody wants to be a fan of the ship. So it was
Someone wants to be a
fantastic.
ship.
Someone wants to be a ship. So this is one of our own Burgundy Squadron members who I finally got to meet, and I am
Actually not.
so
She has
happy.
not submitted.
Oh, she
She
hasn't.
has
No
not
way. Okay.
submitted, no.
All right. Well,
But
well,
I'm
get on it.
dying
But I
for
know. I know. Yeah.
her
So
to yeah, girl, get on it. Like,
yeah. Come on, Starboard Supply. So her Star Wars name is Syra. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. SY''RA. And I chatted with her because I was just like, oh man, your color scheme, your clothing, I want it all. And it was lovely to meet her in person. So she
she
talked,
is incredible. I
yeah.
do
Oh,
have to just pause here for a
yes,
moment,
yes,
and I do wanna, like, gush because the flat lays that she's been doing and, like, there's so much like great color work and great detail, and she really knows how to pair something, but that's all we've seen. So I love that I've
yes.
finally been able to see her like wearing something.
Yes. We joked around about the fact that she needed to lay on the floor and I needed to stand on a table and like, but I was in like really tall heels by then. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. But we
She
definitely
looks fantastic. Before, look,
right.
because like I don't know, I didn't know what she looked like
Yeah.
because to
Yeah.
me she was a pile of clothes, amazing pile of clothes. I will continue to add, but so when I saw this look, I didn't know who it was because you didn't send any, you didn't send
Yeah.
any of the names, and I was like, oh, this is someone who hit the nail like on the head.
Yeah.
Like the simplicity, the layers, the colors, everything is like singing in harmony. Like even
Yes.
the boots or the shoes. I know it'd be hard to zoom in, but like I did,
Yeah.
and amazing. Sorry,
Yeah.
I just
Oh
had to
no,
gush.
please.
And please
Well,
send
because
in your application. Damn
yes,
it.
please. We want you. So, I mean, she participates in our Fair X Fridays with these amazing flat lays. If you don't know, go follow her. It's Starbird Supply on Instagram. And she and I like just totally bonded. I love her. She's like one of my new favorite people ever in the whole galaxy. Just totally bonded over the like. No, you find existing pieces, right? So she
Hmm.
is a huge fan of the brand Bryn Walker, who I think we've mentioned before. It's sort of like Eileen Fisher, where it's like some
Right.
clean lines, but sometimes just different lines and some great textures and some natural fibers
Right.
and things like that. Yeah. So she was saying
Like
that
I'm
she is
loving the
really,
sleeves on this like
I know,
cardigan thing. Like
right?
it's just like I saw
Yeah.
it and I was like,
Yeah.
it's great. So
And it's gorgeous
it was
texture.
an
And this color
indication
scheme
of that
is like one of my personal favorites. Honestly, actually, I'm wearing a very similar. I'm wearing like brown and kind of orange, but it's just, yeah, it's one of my personal favorites. So, yeah, everything that she was wearing, I was just like,
her color
this
sense
is
is
fantastic.
is incredible. There are some
Yeah.
people that just get it,
Yes.
and she's one of
Yes.
them. Yeah.
Absolutely. Go follow her. Go follow her. So let's see here. Okay, so this is Thomas, and Thomas is someone I had definitely seen in the evening, and I told him I've got to get a picture of him. So like, and so while I was talking with someone else, Adam had like roped him in for like, hey, my friend would like to interview you, and so it was super wonderful to talk to him. So he has been building a mix and match sci-fi wardrobe for years. He says he has a lot of friends who are costumers, and he talks about how they'll buy a piece of fabric and just, oh, I'll use it for this.
Mm.
It's in my stash. I'll just use it for something. And he was like, this. It was the opposite for me. Like it wasn't in my stash. I saw it at the store, and I said that needs to be a long coat. I
Hmm.
was like, and so what I really love about it is that this coat has very like straight lines, right?
Did
But
they
then the
make the
pattern,
coat?
yes. And
Oh,
so
amazing.
I know, right? And so the lines are very right, straight and narrow, and then the texture, the pattern is very circular and very curved. And
Hmm.
I loved the juxtaposition, but I loved how
Beautiful.
it played off of the lines of his tunic and the round belt buckle. I just thought it was such a congruent look with mixing
Hmm.
the idea of straight edges and smooth organic curves. And I just
This is yeah.
fantastic.
This to me reads as this to me is like straight out of the films. This is giving
Right?
like Grief Karga. This might be something Luthen will wear in his shop. Like
Yes.
this was another one that I saw and I was like,
Yeah.
oh
Right?
yes.
Yeah, he said
Like,
he was inspired by senatorial robes and things
yep.
like that, but then he kind of thought, well, maybe I'm maybe a smuggler or a merchant who has made it into like
Hmm.
the upper crust and quote once a while. What was he? Where? Oh, he said it had to be a long coat. I'm just going through my notes really quick. He loved that because he wanted the Eldaron or Coruscant vibes, and he said that they might glam it up every once in a while. I was like,
Right.
well, you
And
have,
that's
sir.
and that's why I mentioned Grief Karga because he's someone who was sort of a low level kind of uh, bounty hunter handler who then became like I don't even know what he became of some kind of like governor or something, and every step of the way he kind of became more and more glam for lack of a better term. So this to me was like, oh, this is perfect. This is one of those characters.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Absolutely. Like again, could have stepped off the screen, right? I just love it. Okay, let's go on my next one. Aha, this is Shanae, who I believe is one of the newest members of our book club as well. We've recruited some people. But she put this look together for her first journey. She was first order from the get-go,
Mhm.
and also very inspired by Kira. And you can
Mhm.
see that, right? This is a Kira cape. This is a mix and match look, which I just get so excited when people talk about that. The jumpsuit underneath, it's a little bit hard to see here. Again, I believe this is a lovely photo by Junk Traders Outpost. Thank you.
The pose.
The
I mean,
pose, I know, right? I
it's
know.
giving
God, she gets
everything.
into character. So this jumpsuit
Mhm.
underneath has a cape at the waist. And so she was wearing
Kama.
it
Yeah.
earlier. Yes. So she was
Yeah.
wearing it earlier in the day with what she described as like a Darth Vader like suit coat. And then this was
Okay.
her so it was like a day to night look, which I loved. Like she switched out, added a crown, added the cape for the drama. She's like, everyone looks good in a cape. And I'm like, honey, yes. Like,
Yes.
I agree. I love the pop of red in the shoes to pull in from the cape. And she mentioned
It's
that
so
in real
cohesive. Yeah.
I know, right? Oh, I have to talk about the crown really quickly. And you can't see it perfectly. I should have taken some detailed shots. The crown, this is a very common, like this kind of ray of sun's crown look, but she
Mhm.
glued on these diamond shaped mirrors. So they're literally giant pieces of glitter. But as she
Oh, wow.
walked, they caught the light in these amazing ways, which sort of mimicked the metal belt that she has at her waist. So I
Mhm.
just saw a whole lot of and the next step that she did, her earrings, and I'll share them because I was only sharing kind of one photo per slide, but I'll share these when we add them to Instagram. Her earrings were a hexagon shape to mimic the hexagon
Oh,
like
the first order.
base of the first. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, you are like everything. Like this is amazing. These details
Yeah.
are amazing. And she says that in real, everyday non-Star Wars life, she's inspired by retro flared styles, and she feels like cape helps with that line, that A-line
Right.
silhouette. And I was like, it does. Like, lovely to talk to her. It's so fantastic.
Another fantastic look. I mean, top
Yeah,
to bottom.
yeah,
No notes.
right. Okay, all right, Emily from
Wow.
Hyperspace Props. I know, seriously,
Amazing.
Emily is one of my new favorite people. I have a lot of new
Yeah.
favorite people from this event, but Emily, so I finally learned how to play sabacc. Emily was the one who led the table the first time I sat
Yeah.
down, and I just adore her.
I
Oh my
I
gosh.
love a dressed up twee. Like I
Right.
love
I
a
know.
dressed up twee.
So I
Like it's
asked her the
amazing.
question, what inspired you to make this your Star Wars style? And it's based on her character.
Mhm.
So her character is new money. Her character it
Mhm.
prints counterfeit money from some stolen dies from the Empire. And so she
Love
said
it.
that, you
Bring
dress up
her
in
to the
Star Wars.
squadron.
I know, right? Emily, join us. We love you. She said that in Star Wars, you're either seeing conservative and clean lines for the formal wear, or you're seeing flashy. And so she said,
Right.
as new money, she wanted to go flashy, and I love
Yeah.
that. This dress has just exquisite, this beadwork. It's a very, again, like an Art Deco, reminiscent of Art Deco, Art
Perfect.
Nouveau. The sleeves are sheer, which she wanted to help show off her body paint. Because she
Right.
is a pink Twi'lek. There is some lighting. So this is a corner again in the cantina at Halcycon, which is where we were playing sabacc. This is actually literally right behind the table where the first evening she had taught me how to play sabacc. So yeah, and her headpiece. I have to talk about that. Custom
Mhm.
made. So there's Velcro, so she can change the headband off from again a day to night
Perfect.
look. So she doesn't
Yeah.
have to change anything. Because any of y'all out there who have Leku, it's kind of tough to get things on them.
I've never
Like my
seen anyone
flight
put
cap
them
is
on except when I
yeah,
met Claudia, and I was like,
it's
"Oh, that's a
yeah,
lot." Like,
it's a lot, right? I know, and all the Twi'leks that were running around, I was jealous. I missed my Leku, but I was also like, I didn't have room in
yeah,
my room in my
I love a
luggage.
pink Twi'lek. I love a yellow
I know,
Twi'lek for some
yeah,
reason. I love
right?
Twi'leks of all colors, but
They're
like,
beautiful.
yeah, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and I feel like Mike and Emily going together as their aliens. It's just their storyline
right,
is just so fantastic. I
yeah.
love them. So let's go to the next one. Okay, so this is a Burgundy
Ah,
Squadron member.
yes, she
So
is.
I finally got to meet our Astra.
Had you
Um,
never met her before? Oh,
no, so
wait,
I
how?
know because she lives on the other side of the country.
Oh,
So
but she's always isn't she always at like isn't she always at Batu? Maybe she goes to
Yeah,
east,
we've
and I'm
just
thinking she
never,
goes to
yeah,
west.
we've never,
Oh,
I think mostly east, yeah.
oh,
So
okay.
we've never gotten to meet up, but one of those people that I was like, we are going to be such good friends. She's just so lovely. Um, so I was
She's
excited
amazing.
because I've
She's got great
seen,
stories, by the way.
I know,
Have
right?
dinner with her. She's got great stories.
Yes, yes, I know. And because she has a booth, and so she was very busy with that
Hmm.
during the day, but got
Yeah.
to see each other in the evenings and briefly on Batu because we were all running around crazy on Batu, right? But I was excited because I've seen this look for so long, and I was like, "Ah, I want to know the story." So she loves Art Deco and Art Nouveau, and
Hmm.
loves the connection between that style that was pulled into Padme's looks, right? You see that in a
Yeah.
few different styles. And so she was like, I need that crown. So then she just kept Googling for a dress that she thought complemented it. And I think she hit the nail on the head. Like she
Yeah.
found such an
The
incredible look.
color is so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know if if the lining is a slightly lighter color green or if it just shifts, but whatever
Yeah.
it is, it looks incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. This
Does it
beautiful
shift?
green.
I haven't seen it in person.
And now
Yeah.
I can't remember. You were asking me this. I'm
Oh,
like, I don't know. I'm
I
jet
think
lagged,
it
really.
shifts. I want to say
I
that it
I
shifts.
think it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're gonna have to ask her and be like, hey.
What
But
I
all
what
that
I love
ex-
about her character is that she is a sort of upper crust, kind of Coruscanti
Mhm.
um, person with very high level contacts, but
Yes.
she's the first squadron member to come in through the door with two looks, a sort of
Ah,
her everyday look, which is this Coruscanti look, and then also her get her hands dirty sort of rebel look, which is what I saw when we met here in the UK. Um, she flew over here, go to
we all
go
have to
to the
come
East
see you.
Coast. Anyway, um, so she's the first person that came through the door like already fully formed with this double life, and I fell head over heels with her story because that's exactly the inspiration was always that Aldani crew, and
Yeah.
first and foremost probably like Cinta and um what's her name and her
Val.
girlfriend Val,
Yeah.
yeah.
Val. Yeah.
And so it was amazing. So
Yeah.
yeah, this
Yeah.
is a showstopper always.
Yeah. Fantastic. And her
Oh, I see
accessories
who's
are
next on the list.
all
Sorry,
items.
I just
Oh, I
thought of
know.
who's next.
Don't read
Oh,
it.
let's see who's next on the list. Sorry, I don't mean to push you. Keep going.
No, it's okay.
Describe
I
this
was just
list.
going to
Yeah,
mention that all of her accessories were just found, and then like the necklace was from TJ Maxx, right? And
yeah.
she was like, yeah. Then everything fell into place, and I love what she's done. Okay, Jay is next. So Jay, I have just had
He
this like
still might
Instagram
be
fashion
thinking.
crush on forever. And
Yeah.
then we found out that we were on a panel together. And I was just like, "Oh my god, I am honored." And she's like, "Oh, me too." And so it was this little like, this moment, and we got to sit next to each other in the panel, and we got to, stop and chat together on Batu, and um just so thrilled to get to meet and get to connect, and then get to talk about this look, right? Because I was like, I need to talk to you, I need your photo. So
Absolutely.
Janessa is the character's name, and she is a first order trophy wife. And so Jay talked about how usually her girl is like really like combat boost, utilitarian, like tough, get it done. This is a shift into what she calls snake in the grass. She's still dangerous, but she hides it under a layer of glamour. And one of the things that I love that she utilizes to like kind of change her mindset and kind of to change the outward appearance is by changing her lip color. I was like, I never
Okay.
would have thought of that. She has a specific lip color that she uses when she's in like the combat boots, like, and then a specific lip color that she's like, this is my glam, but look, but don't mess with me. I'm dangerous. And so this dress is this beautiful bat wing. Again, another very Art Deco, very 1920s feeling, 1930s feeling.
It is.
Um,
It is the sort of blueprint
yeah,
for an evening wear, elegant
yeah,
wear
yeah.
in universe. It
There,
does kind of read.
there's some concept art, I believe, of Kira that is in a very that didn't they didn't go that direction. Have you seen this? What I'm talking about? I have to find it to like add it to the Instagram, but it's in a very similar similar style. And so she talked about how she put it on and was like, "Whoo, this
Hmm.
neckline is low." But then found this beautiful fringe necklace that we're able to form this symbiotic relationship and
Hmm.
sort of fill in that gap, but giving it texture and movement and interest, which was phenomenal. And the
Yeah.
epaulets on her shoulders are added, they're pins, they're beaded pins. So it was really like
Right.
building layers of this dress, which I was just like, this is phenomenal. Loved it.
Amazing costumer,
Yes.
even an
Yes.
incredible writer. I don't know if you've
Yes.
read Janessa's story, but it's
No. Yeah,
incredible.
I need to.
Yeah.
I definitely need to. So yeah, just every detail is always so thought out and just so, and oh, the crown is like mimics the First Order logo and everything. Just oh
Yeah.
god, love her, love her. Just absolutely one of the highlights of Halcycon was getting to meet in person. Be like, oh my god, we're friends. Fangirling. So I know. So this is Baron Cutter Locke of Kessel, and was another.
Okay.
I wanted to really make sure I was representing male-bodied cosplayers, right? Like, especially because it was this fancy event. What's a dude wear to be fancy, right? Like, or
Right.
someone who doesn't want the low cut dress or something like that. And I loved this royal blue mixed with black because
Yeah.
it's very formal, right? It's just
Yeah.
it's gorgeous.
It
So
somehow really feels Castle, which is
yes, yes, definitely,
Oh,
yeah. And
wait,
so he
I was thinking something else. I was thinking
Okay.
Corellia, but
Oh,
what were you saying?
Corellia. Yeah.
Because yeah.
Well, it does feel that as well, right? And so he had said he was one of the ones that said, "I needed a Lando cape." I was like, "Yes, you
Nice.
did." So
It
because he's a
adds the
big
perfect
sabacc
flair
player.
to it. Yeah.
Yeah, it does, and I love that it's on the shoulder. I love that it's and that the tunic is it's a double-breasted wrap look, and that the wrap and the hem of the cape is sort of mimicking that line that comes across the collar, like
Mhm.
right, like I mean I was just like so well done, honey, so well
Yeah.
done. So his character is a sabacc player, deals in coaxium and spice, and so he wanted another upper crust, like you've made it as like this
Yeah.
smuggler, right? And I thought it
I
was
really
fantastic.
love that slant to all of this. Like, when you sent these over, I was like, wow, that's a lot of sort of evening looks and more sort
Yeah.
of formal looks, and I
Hmm.
loved it. It's something that's not oft seen. It
Hmm.
is, when the Star Cruiser was first like announced and it wasn't even open yet. That's immediately what my brain went to,
Yeah.
and was loving the idea of like trying to take these characters with the perhaps not so great backgrounds and dress them up.
Yeah.
I love that a lot of these people are like, I've made it now, so I've
Mhm, mhm.
got a little bit of
Totally.
change.
Yeah,
We'll get me a cape.
yeah. Oh, you're right. You know how you made it? You get a cape. They just hand it to you when, like, you
Hey,
get a certain, like, income threshold.
yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, so my next one was another person who this is Varian, and I saw Varian when, I think I had just taken Emily's photo. Ian Grayson, Junk Traders Outpost, was with me, kind of standing in the corner of that sabacc room, and the folks who had made it to the final rung because the final night on Saturday night there was like a for charity tournament, and so it was almost like like Maverick, right? Like standing around in your
Oh,
fancy
right.
clothes watching people play cards and betting and trying to
Yeah.
get to the the pot, like be the winner. And so the finalists came over to that table that we were standing next to sit down to get ready for the final round, and I saw him sit down, and I said to Ian, I was like, I need his picture. I need to talk to him because it just the lines of this coat, and so it's a green tunic underneath, a fairly simple tunic, um boots, trousers, but this jacket, I think really just it's white too, so it contrasts beautifully. But like the longer line, the longer cut of it, I was just like, wow. To me, I was like, I could see him sitting at a table,
Yeah.
on the screen, right?
He looks like a
Um,
card player. I'm seeing here that Canto Bite was his
yes,
inspiration, and
yes,
absolutely, yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So
I
then
love
we
the
talked.
beard with it too. I mean, we're
I
not
do
sort of talking
too.
about these things, but like some of the hair choices and for the men these beard choices and
Yeah.
some of the makeup choices like have been great as well.
Yeah,
So
they are the extra icing on the look, right? Like it
Mhm.
definitely like yeah, I do love that as well. So I talked to him and he immediately said that Canto Bight was his inspiration. He said that Star Wars Celebration a few years ago in Chicago, there was an event at one of the museums in Chicago. And so he was looking for, pulling pieces in for a look. So this was his Starcruiser version of that look. He mentioned a green Carillion tunic. The white jacket is a tux that he found on eBay. And it reminds me almost of like lines you would see in clothing from India, which I was like, oh, that's
Right.
awesome because we see a
Right,
lot
because
of different.
it doesn't have a wide lapel. Does it have a lapel at
No,
all? I'm
no,
not
I
seeing
think it's like more like a
absolutely.
mandarin collar.
Yep.
Yeah, and so like we do see these like earthy cultural looks represented in many Star Wars looks, and I was like, yes,
Mhm.
of course, like this works. It's amazing. And so then he said he paired it with slacks, space boots, and a belt. Like he was like the buckle was important, right? Because it is. It's like to take it up a notch. So yeah, I love that he like found this jacket on eBay and modified it for this look. So
Yeah.
yeah, high roller for sure. It was very exciting to talk to him. All right. So this is Max Fry. And Billy,
Mhm.
do you know Max? Because I
I
was trying to.
I
Okay.
believe we follow each other.
Okay.
Yeah,
So Max was one of the individuals
on
that
Instagram.
like I was like, God, I don't remember why we follow each other, but we do. And one of the people that like recognized me, I was like, oh my gosh, Kate. And I was like, thank you for knowing me. Oh my God. And so I got to chat with Max several times through the weekend. I just lovely person.
Stunning look.
And so when I saw this, and this was another one that I had told Ian, and I was like, I have to
I think
get
it's
his
Ian.
look. And
Is it Ian or is it Ian?
it's
I think it's
Ian,
Ian.
yeah. So
Oh, it
yeah,
is
so
Ian.
Adam's character is Ian. Yeah. So which I'm trying to call him more by his character name.
Okay.
Make him feel like a cool kid. But he's got several characters, so it's hard for me to remember which name. But Max, I hadn't seen him like kind of in the bulk of the night, and so I tracked him down actually when they were starting to break down the sabacc room. So this is actually the wall of the sabacc room without any lighting on it, which was
Okay.
great because I wanted this. I wanted these lines to show up as much as possible.
Yeah, that
So
collar. I mean, I'm not
so
even sure
let's talk.
what's going on, but
Yes,
that
yes,
it almost makes like a chevron shape
yes,
into the coat, which is a perfect length. And
yeah,
he's got these like riding boots, I believe,
yes. Han Solo
just
boots.
like
Yeah,
graze the bottom of that coat. I think
yeah,
this was probably one of my favorites. It's very simple, like
yeah,
to the like the quick glance, but it isn't. There's a
yeah,
lot going on here, and I don't mean in like a
yeah.
lot of stuff going on. I just mean there's like
Because
some
it's very simple,
really
right?
choices. Yeah. So
Yes.
tell me about
So
that white collar, because like what is going on? I love it.
yeah. So I am so excited to tell you about Max's look because it might be my favorite from the entire evening. So
Yeah, beautiful.
Max was mentioning that when they, first booked with Starcruiser, saw that there was, like he went on
Mhm.
an earlier voyage, so there wasn't a lot of information, ton of information out, right? You couldn't go and see like, oh, what did so and so wear? Because he had read about, oh, there's a fancy gala. And he's like,
Mhm.
okay, so what am I going to do for that? So he went in his closet, and I love this because I don't think Max, correct me if I'm wrong, you might not have gone to public school. This is his tuxedo jacket from high school graduation,
Oh.
made over, repurposed.
Oh.
So he has a friend who is a costume designer. So
Oh.
luckily he had that resource to go to and said, I want to use this. The pants don't fit anymore. So he bought new pants. But he said, I want to use this as the base. And then the friend pieced in some, so you can see at the collar where it crosses and there's sort of another texture. You can see a sheen there. There's a
Mhm.
beautiful pattern in there. And it was just scrap fabric that the friend had in their stash. And Max said, I needed a cape. I wanted an asymmetric look. And then the collar is it's a wrap collar like we see in a lot of characters on
Mhm.
Star Wars. And the collar and the cuffs are actually sewn onto the jacket. So he didn't have to have more layers.
Ah, that's
Yeah.
perfect.
And so it's beautiful. It's
That's a
absolutely
costume
beautiful.
trick. So if you went to a
It
costume
is.
designer, like that is like
Yes.
why, if this is the look, why
Yeah.
you don't need the need for the whole
Mm-hmm.
shirt. Like
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah,
So
perfect.
he said that his friend was very conscious of lines with him and very
Mhm.
conscious of the fabric's textures and sheen and how it caught the light. And I was like, I
Yeah,
can tell. I can
yeah,
see it. And that's what partially makes this very simple ensemble just pop.
yeah.
And I'm just like, Oh my God, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful
It's
creation.
incredible.
He mentioned that his wife had said, you could just wear normal dress shoes. He's like, no, I need the Han Solo boots.
Yeah,
So he pulled his Han Solo boots out, and I agree. I think it helps take it up again a notch to just read even more Star Wars, right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Oh God,
Just like, I mean,
yes,
it looks incredible, and I'm trying to imagine it with, a nice black loafer or something like that, and it
yeah,
would look great, but this
yeah.
takes it to another level.
It does. It does. Oh, it's so amazing. And actually, and I wish I had gotten a detailed shot of the brooch that he's wearing on his chest was
Mhm.
actually found that day from a merchant that was selling there the
Oh,
conduit. It
wow.
was a beautiful ornate piece, and it like complemented it while also being a bit of a juxtaposition, right? But it,
Yeah.
it kind of made it stand out, and oh, I'm so glad we're
Well, I think
friends.
a great sort of, 11th hour addition, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I agree. Yeah, it was almost like, sort of having a corsage, right? A boutonniere, right? It was
Mhm.
like almost like still, it's just so very formal. It's like this is a space Star Wars tuxedo, right?
Yeah.
Ah, gorgeous.
I'm feeling
So
so underdressed right now because I'm in a poncho, just for the listeners, like
I know I'm in my like linen wrap dress and like the shawl.
just so
So this
underdressed.
is speaking of like, so this is a very juxtaposition. So I did talk to one person on Batu on Sunday,
Yeah.
and it was August. August goes by he, they.
Okay.
And as soon as I saw August, I was like, I'm so sorry. Excuse me. Can I talk to you?
Yeah. I've never
And
seen a
August,
hat to look better.
yes. And
Sorry
so
for
actually, I have a
interrupting
detailed shot, and I'll share it on.
you.
I'll share it on Instagram. But they have painted the Batu logo is sort of painted on the back in some
Oh.
white paint. It's just a beautiful look. So I was like, tell me everything. so August is very inspired by the idea of found items, of collecting,
Mhm.
discards from the First Order as a local Batuan. Um, and so there's a droid on their shoulder, which is one of the droids you can get there, and it talks and everything. And so their character is very into droids and modifying things and taking a little bit of a steampunk slant as a nod to like all the found metal that you find around Batu, right? If you think about it, there is a little bit of a steampunk aspect to that, right? Like all these washers and all these like rusty engine parts and everything. It does remind me of that style. So this was their traveler, their repurposer look, which I just adored. The knickers, which I thought were such an interesting
Great.
idea, or corduroy. And they were saying that corduroy is sort of for them a link between sort of medieval looks, which we see as inspiration for many Star Wars looks, right? So it's sort of a link for them between medieval and this sort of modern style. Their parents were SCA members, so I think like that kind of also gives you a little idea of where August is coming from as a costumer. Um, on
Oh,
Instagram, it's
wait, what do you
Society
mean
for
SDA?
Creative Anachronism, right? Like so they grew
Oh.
up. So the folks who do like the medieval reenactment and all that stuff.
Oh,
So
right, right,
yeah,
right,
so
right.
August grew up as a kid whose parents were very into these different eras, right? These different medieval eras. And sort of taking the knowledge that they gleaned from their parents and putting them, using that knowledge and putting it into Star Wars context, I thought was an interesting evolution
The
of a
styling is top
costumer,
notch, and
right?
I know that, like, I don't know if some of you are gonna see it or whatever. I love the brogues. I know they have
Yes.
laces, but
Yes.
they're so fitting for this. Like,
Yes.
it's so fitting.
I
I
know. It
love the
almost reminded
brogues.
me of a newsboy silhouette, right? With the
Mhm,
cropped like
mhm.
knickers and with like this shirt and a
Bags are incredible,
satchel.
that leather
Yeah.
bag on the side that we can
Yeah.
barely see.
Yes.
Incredible. Love it, I
Yes.
want it. Give it to me.
Yes. Right.
Um, I've never seen anyone look better in a Hatu. Sorry,
Yeah.
Hatu
Right. I
wearers.
know. And I think it's a
The
little bend, a little
lightsaber, I would get
slant,
out of
right?
here. Like, get out of here with
Ah.
the lightsaber. Like, to me, that's the only thing that seems wholly out of place. But other than
Oh.
that, 10 out of 10. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So the really fun moment that I had with August was that then Jay was walking towards us through the market, and August says, "Oh my gosh, wow, that person's look." And
Mm.
I go, "Jay, come here."
No,
So
that's
I
so
connected
cool.
the two of them. I was like, you've got to look up his Instagram now, and you've got to look up her
Yeah.
Instagram now. And so then
Yeah.
they started talking because August is an incredible cosplayer. And so I'll be sharing like people's, we'll be tagging them on Instagram, and I just, please go follow them. Just incredible. So then it was just super fun to see the two of them just connect and just chat and just like share
Yeah.
what they've done and everything. I'm like, your styles
great.
work together. It was lovely. So so that was my one Batu citizen that I was like, I gotta talk about you. Okay, and then myself. So we've gotten to the end, and Billy was like, this should be at the beginning.
This should be at the beginning. Yeah. I know you're
So
really concerned
with
that the
my
back of that dress isn't showing. I
yeah.
think that doesn't no.
All right. As long as you think you can see them. There's details that we're missing, but that's okay. I'll take some photos and share them on
Yeah.
Instagram. But
Because the shoulders go all the way around to the back,
they
right?
do. Yeah. Yeah. So
It's
this,
it's almost like a collar piece, not a collar
it,
piece, but I don't know,
yeah. Yeah. No,
shoulder piece.
yeah, a color. I could see that. So what I wanted to do with going to Halcycon was, D ISO from Holoscan Database and I, neither of us went on the Starcruiser, but we were going to Halcycon, and we were like, we need some sort of story of why we weren't on that ship. And so we were like, our story is that we were on a mission together and we were detained. We were headed for the Halcycon and our characters were detained. Well, then we're like, okay, so we're here because we need to make a contact. We didn't flesh it out a lot, but that was our story. So I wanted to be undercover for the entire con. And I actually had two looks because on Batu, I was another undercover character, which we'll see in a photo shoot with Dee later. But my character for the actual con, about a year ago, Zach Eskren, Midrim Rebel, had challenged me to do an Imperial look. And he was like, I'd love to just see you try to do like those lines, like not even don't have as it like
Zach,
those lines
who are
in the
you
movie.
talking to? Like,
I
come on,
know,
challenge you.
And so I was like, this whole time I'm like, I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah, you can. Look
Well,
at
can you see my hair? My hair is usually like not Imperial. It's all anyway. So I was like, well, this is a great opportunity to do that. And so I wanted to do a very sleek look, and all summer long. I mean, Ian and I have been talking all summer long about our projects and about our plans for this trip. And I was stumped. I'm like, what? So the color scheme of a character is so important, right? And so I was stumped on like what my own color scheme was going to be. And finally, about a month ago, I was like, black. I'm just going black. I was like,
I think that's the best choice. I mean, look at the looks that we've seen today. A lot of the ones that we were really, head over heels for were simple black looks with really great details. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's what I finally was like, that's not something I do very often. And he actually, D, when we got to the con, he's like, I'm loving these looks, but I'm really disappointed I don't get to see, the usual Ceit Rider. And I was like, well, what is my usual look? He's like, jumpsuits and cargo pockets. I'm like, you're right, it is. So this was super fun. So I eventually, my cover story for this character was, this is Saren Mar, and she is from the design House of Mar, which was her father's design, label. He is a haute couture designer for, the late, members of the late Republic, and then into the Empire. Didn't really care who he was working with, right? So it's now like, First Order era, and she has inherited this design label, and so she is a designer that these, top officials or wives, things like that, come to as a known name. Well, she can like funnel information she hears to the resistance, right?
That's a great cover.
Yeah. And so I decided that it was all black, but I actually got, and I'll just share it in some other, I've shared it on my own page, this like accordion textured black shawl, which I was actually using for a really quick closet cosplay of, oh shoot, now I've forgotten her name, a character that's in Agatha All Along.
Right.
Aubrey Plaza's character. So we see like a very brief look of her in this amazing black outfit. And so I had zoomed in and I was like, oh, this has this texture. And I actually found a shawl on Poshmark that had this texture. And so then once I got it, I was like, this is gorgeous. Oh my gosh. And I was like, wait. And so so all summer long, Ian kept saying, there's something in your closet. And I was like, what is in my closet that you know of that I don't know of? Because I don't know what to wear. And I was like, finally, I just like 2 nights before leaving, I pulled a ton of stuff, anything was black, which is a lot of stuff in my closet actually. And I pulled it out and I just kind of started piecing it together. And sure enough, I had just a simple linen V-neck top and these really great linen pants that sort of, the waist sort of wrapped and snapped,
Yeah.
but had a really clean lines. And I added that shawl and just kind of pinned it to be like a cape, right? And so then it mimicked this dress with this drape back. And I was like, oh, hold on. Yes, now we have a line of similarity that's flowing through
Yeah.
these looks.
Thread.
And
Yeah.
and I was like, and so then I was finally happy. And so I had gotten this off of
That
Poshmark.
is perfect. It's perfect for the story because if you're a fashion designer, you'd be wearing your own pieces. So these are,
Yes.
different pieces from the same collection or something like that.
Yes.
That's
And that's
perfect.
what I
Yeah.
decided, that she was known for her very simple lines with like sort of one additional like interesting texture added. Because that that shawl was a very interesting texture, and I used it a couple times, and then I had just a very simple dress I actually bought off Amazon. I'm not perfect all the time. That had some pleating on the shoulder and some pleating at the hip, but it was a very simple kind of column dress, and I added a silver, really ornate belt to it. And I was like, sure, like that's her touch of, and it was more ornate than we would see in the Empire, but it was circular, so it still kind of reminded me a little bit of like Empire First Order, but a little more organic. And so then this dress I had found on Poshmark, and I was like, wow, yeah, this collar shoulder detail. So it goes from one, it's beaded in black and gold beads, and it goes from one shoulder across the back to the other. And the back is what's killing me. I don't have a photo of. It comes to a V, and then there's this black crystal that's hanging from the V in
Oh,
this open
wow.
space with this
Okay, I
with
see
this
what you
drape
mean by
from one
like,
shoulder to the other.
yeah,
There's more, that I'm not sharing.
yeah,
That I just never thought to tell someone, hey, take a picture of my back, please.
right.
But I will. I actually I did my hair up, and I'm gonna go snap some photos so I can share it because it's just so lovely. But it made me so darn happy that it worked. That it like suddenly this character evolved and their style evolved, and I felt like it was congruent, and I was happy. So
Yeah,
that's my story. So it's an interesting journey when you're trying to create a style for a character that's not necessarily my style, but still came from items essentially in my closet, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So that was my fashion wrap up. And I have to mention Ian. Like, I mean, I feel so like I've got a million photos. We always took our photo together. We're like, oh wait, we got to go get our photo. So Ian from Junk Traders Outpost wore the blue wrap tunic that actually came from the Halcycon.
The Saja tunic.
The Saja tunic. Yeah, which, and the reasoning, I was like, what was the reasoning? He was like, blue's my favorite color. I'm like, good reason. Which he does. He
Good
looks
enough.
he looks wonderful in this royal blue color. Paired it with the Pozu fin boots, right?
Like,
Which
yeah. Those are the
which
Posey boots.
everyone,
I'm not sure if that's the
yeah.
fin boots, but yeah.
I can't remember. Sorry. Anyway, I know
It
they're
might be
Pozu.
Ray's boots. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We'll have to ask him. But and just a couple of details. Like there's a brooch on the shoulder. There's a belt with, a couple of details. So he is a merchant who is often on Betu, picking up items that he needs or delivering items to someone else. And so this is kind of his elevated merchant look. So yeah, that was the look. Everyone, I mean, if you want to see some Star Wars style, like this group brings it. Like it was super fun to see what folks were wearing and then to get the chance to talk to them about it. So
Yeah.
And this is a very long episode. I'm so sorry for those of you who are in the car. Go watch it on YouTube.
Go to work. Get to work. They're in the parking lot. Like, I gotta get the last bit of this.
Jeez, you guys, stop talking.
Get to work.
Yeah, but that was lovely. And thank you to everybody who I met and said hi and let me take your photo, let me interview you. It was just such a wonderful experience. So
that was great. Yeah. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Thanks for bringing me along through pictures.
Absolutely.
It was great.
Yeah.
I love to look at all this stuff. So
totally.
yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you to the Dad Batch for bringing us on board, for hosting this, for Rami for being in the background as our producer. And just remember that a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away can be right here and right now.